a leader who leads from the front, and everyone stand up and recognize him as a leader.
We're a young industry which is driven by young people who have young thoughts, and I think leadership is all about leading from the front, leading by example. And the fact that today we are the kind of people who are around us and with us today, they all feel a deep sense of involvement and ownership of the business that they run, and I don't think they think of it as a job, but they have something more than that invested in. I think that's why you're seeing the true leaders actually shine today and in our business.
Well, in my view, anybody who can inspire others to do his job, he is a leader. No, I think you have a very, very good and a large lot of top professionals today in the industry, and in fact I can remember even 10, 15, 20 years ago we didn't have this many people leading so many companies, because it's just the number of companies that have mushroomed, number of multinationals that have come in, so you have that many more leaders in different companies and leading different brands, and so I think there's a huge circuit of great leaders today available in our industry.
So I think leadership is actually the thought, the mind, the attitude, and it gets defined just in the mind, and everybody's a leader in their own right. It's just how well you exercise it on a daily basis and how well you feel about it. Good young crop of leaders, and I think they are at the cusp of taking this industry into the next league.
I mean, if there's a leadership mantra I would say there's no mantra. There's no simple pieces that you can do. It's really, you got to work hard, you got to enjoy life, and you got to have a great team. I mean, it's a combination of many things that comes together.
I think from a marketing perspective, it's just focus on the consumer and focus on the fundamentals, do the fundamentals right in terms of, delivering value, ride out the highs and the lows, because it's not easy. Marketing is not easy. Delivering value to consumers and staying ahead of competition is a really difficult road. But stay focused, follow the fundamentals, have a lot of enthusiasm, and love your job. Find a job that you don't have to work at. Find a job that you can just love and enjoy and becomes your passion, because excellence follows passion.
Always put your consumer first and figure out whether things work for her. When you are judging any piece of creative or any piece of communication that she's going to see.
I would say to all young marketeers and budding marketeers that if you have to see the rainbow, you have to look up. So look up. And in adversity, never give up, because there is always a way. Marketing is a tough job, tough profession. But if you dig deep, you can always find a way. And final mantra is that keep focus on customers. Easier said than done, but keep singular focus on customer. It's only she who knows what she wants. So know the customer.
My message to the young emerging leaders is to really stay focused. You see a lot of success stories around you, and sometimes you get carried away, you get swayed by what others are doing. I think everyone is in a unique situation. It is important that you stay true to your situation and you stay focused on what's relevant for your category, for your brand, and I think that will always work.
I think as a marketer, it's extremely important to know the pulse of the consumer and to understand the pulse of the consumer in the context of the industry and develop relevant propositions and campaigns accordingly. So that's the mantra I would give. Don't do anything for the sake of marketing or for the sake of publicity. Do things which you feel is relevant for the business and relevant for the consumer. You will get awarded in the long run.
Well, I think you don't consciously sort of become a leader. I think there are certain actions of yours which you take, which makes, which makes others recognize you as a leader. I think leadership in a way cannot be given with a title, it cannot be bestowed. I think it can only be earned. That's how I would define leadership. I'm not saying I qualify for that, but I think in very broad terms, I think that's how I would view leadership. And therefore, I think there are very few leaders. I may not be one of them. I think the tip that I'd like to give is I'd like younger people to earn the mantle of leadership rather than hanker after a leadership role. And in my mind, I see a big difference in that. You know, it's generally understood that the CEO is the leader, but in my mind, a young person as a media planner or as an account executive can also earn for him the title of leadership. And I think that is what is, to my mind, critically important to earn.
I think leadership is the most important thing that we are looking towards today. As we see that some of our leaders are today quite senior, which means that time for transition has come. Transition means that we have to grow new leaders. To grow new leaders, we need to have a way in which we'll have to embrace change. One of the biggest problems of not being able to build on new leaders is because the leaders who are the elder statesmen want to maintain status quo. Unless they open up the doors and say that this is time for us to let new ideas, new ways of working flow in, you will not create the new leaders of tomorrow. So in my opinion, the leaders who are embracing change and making the path a lot more encouraging for future leaders are the true leaders of today.